Imagine a world where empires rise and fall, not solely on the battlefield, but in the quiet corridors of finance, where wealth, cunning, and information wielded power greater than cannons and armies. This is the story of one family that did just that, the Rothschilds, and how they outsmarted Napoleon, changing the course of history. Few realize that wars are not only fought with muskets and strategy, they are also fought with money, intelligence, and timing. The Rothschild family, starting from a modest background in Frankfurt, Germany, would come to master this very art, shaping the financial world in ways still felt today. But how did a single family, not a nation, manage to maneuver so effectively against one of history's most formidable generals? And why did their actions have consequences far beyond what anyone at the time could predict? To understand, we must step back to the late 18th century, a period of upheaval and ambition. Europe was in chaos. The French Revolution had toppled monarchies, executed kings, and unleashed waves of political uncertainty. Amid this turmoil, a young Austrian Jew named Rothschild Rothschild built a modest banking business in Frankfurt. He was not born into extraordinary wealth, nor did he command armies, but he understood something fundamental. Information and trust were as valuable as gold. Meyer had 5 sons, and he would send them to key financial centers across Europe: London, Paris, Naples, Vienna, and Frankfurt. This network was unprecedented. Each son became a node in a system that could move money and intelligence faster than any empire's bureaucracy. When Napoleon rose to power, Europe was plunged into war after war. Armies marched, treaties were signed, and entire economies teetered on collapse. It was during this period that the Rothschilds demonstrated their genius. Nassan Rothschild, based in London, learned of Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo. Before the official news reached the city, he understood the strategic importance of this information. Markets and government bonds were about to swing dramatically. Nathan acted swiftly, quietly, buying British government bonds while spreading rumors that the French were winning. The city panicked. Prices plummeted, and when the truth emerged that Napoleon was defeated, the bonds soared. The Rothschilds had effectively manipulated the flow of information to generate immense wealth, turning knowledge into power in a way armies could not match. But this story is more than just clever financial maneuvering. It is a tale of timing, cause and effect, and understanding human psychology on a massive scale. The Rothschilds' rise did not happen overnight. Their origins were humble, their growth deliberate. Mayer's philosophy was simple: loyalty, discretion, and meticulous attention to detail. Every letter, every transaction, and every business alliance was calculated with precision. As Europe destabilized, governments struggled to finance wars. Armies required constant funding, yet traditional banking systems were slow and bureaucratic. The Rothschilds filled this gap. They lent to governments, managed bonds, and transferred funds with unprecedented speed. By the early 19th century, they were not just bankers. They were the bankers of Europe, trusted by monarchs, ministers, and generals alike. Their influence grew quietly, without armies or titles. But power attracts scrutiny. Rival bankers and governments were suspicious of a single family wielding so much financial influence. Yet the Rothschilds survived crises that would have destroyed lesser houses: wars, market crashes, political upheavals. They navigated them all. Their breaking point was not a failure, but the challenge of scale. Managing vast sums across multiple countries required absolute trust and flawless communication. A single misstep could trigger financial panic, yet the Rothschilds' network allowed them to act faster than anyone else. Even during Napoleon's wars, they were effectively information arbitrageurs, exploiting delays in communication to anticipate market shifts. The fallout of their strategy was profound. By the mid-19th century, the Rothschilds had amassed unprecedented wealth, influence, and a reputation for near invincibility. They had helped fund wars, rebuild economies, and even influence policy decisions, all without holding political office. Attempts by rivals to replicate their success often failed. Governments tried to centralize finance, monopolize banking, and impose regulations, yet no one could match the combination of trust, network, and foresight that the Rothschilds had cultivated. Modern parallels are striking. Today, information flows at lightning speed. Markets react instantly to news. Hedge funds, private investors, and multinational banks operate with strategies that echo the Rothschild model. The repeating pattern is clear. Those who control information and timing can wield disproportionate influence, often unseen by the public. Even in our digital age, the principle remains unchanged. Knowledge plus speed plus trust equals power. Consider how modern financial crises often start with a single leak of information or a sudden market panic. The same dynamics Nathan Rothschild exploited in 1815 are mirrored in algorithmic trading today. So, what can we learn from the Rothschild story? First, power is not always visible. True influence often works behind the scenes, in networks and information flows, rather than in overt displays of force. Second, timing is everything. Acting a moment before the rest of the world can create opportunities unimaginable to those who wait. Third, trust is the ultimate currency. Relationships, credibility, and discretion often outweigh raw capital or knowledge. A warning remains. The lessons of the Rothschilds, exploiting information or manipulating markets without ethics, can lead to systemic risk and social consequences. Yet an open-ended thought lingers. If a single family could shape empires with intelligence and timing, what lessons could be applied responsibly in today's complex global economy? History is rarely just about battles and kings. Often, it is about networks, foresight, and the unseen currents that move entire civilizations. If this story of the Rothschilds has changed the way you think about power, money, and strategy, what the Rothschilds proved was not merely a financial trick, but a timeless truth about power itself. Empires may win battles, but those who control trust, credit, and information shape the aftermath. Napoleon's cannons shook Europe, yet it was quiet decisions in counting rooms that determined who would truly rule the future. The Rothschild story reveals how systems outlive soldiers, how markets remember longer than history books, and how influence often hides behind numbers rather than flags. Their legacy forces us to confront an uncomfortable question. In every age, who really holds power, the rulers we see, or the networks we don't? As modern finance grows ever more complex, the same patterns repeat, only faster and on a global scale. Understanding this story is not about the past. It is about recognizing how today's world is still shaped in silence. And perhaps the greatest lesson is this wars may end, but financial empires rarely do. Share it with someone who loves history and finance. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden forces that have shaped our world, because understanding the past is the key to navigating the future.